Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, let's discuss how we can implement machine coding project for Connect4. So, before watching this video, I suggest to go through the machine coding concepts which I am tagging in the description. So, that video talks about different concepts and the patterns that can be used in many machine coding projects. So, without any further ado, let's start Connect4 machine coding project. First of all, what is Connect4 application? Let us play the Connect4. So it is very much similar to tic-tac-toe only. So let us play with a computer. So in Connect4, there would be a set of columns and a player needs to choose a column. So now red color is my coin and computer is yellow. Now a player wins whenever there is set of four coins of his color, either column wise, row wise, or any diagonal wise. For example, I try to play like this. So computer is playing yellow. Then let me try for the column. So computer is playing for yellow. It is I'm trying to win. Then oh, so computer has already won with the four yellow colors. So now I hope everyone understood what is the Connect4 application and let us see how we can implement Connect4. So in any machine coding round, we need not create a UI, but instead we just need to uh, create a demoable project where we can show the project to demo the project to the interviewer. So I have created a Xcode project by going to create Xcode and new and then a project. So I hope everyone knows about Xcode, how to create a project, how to debug and build it. So I created a simple command line project called Connect4 and have created a hello world statement. Okay. So let us keep a timer for 45 minutes because Connect4 is a pretty much small coding project only, and let us try to complete within 45 minutes. So if you have seen my earlier video on machine coding concept, the first component that I can think of is let me create a new group called model. So there would have the Connect4 project would have different models like layer, cell, board, and so on. Now, then there should also be a input where I can take input from the player, and then what else can be the thing. So there should be a strategy on how you are choosing a particular column from a player, like any player. Then what else can be? There should be a bunch of exceptions. Then there should be a repository to store the board. Then if there is any factory, maybe we'll see as the time goes. So let me create some of the models. So first of all, basic model that I can think of is it should have a player. Then what else can be a model? So it should have a cell. Then what else? It should have a board. Then uh, then is there any other thing? I think these models are sufficient for now. So how each component should have their own namespace. So I'm creating a model. So I'm creating a So let me create a struct for player. It's easy for me this way. Then every player will have a player ID, and then a new player initialization. What it does is it initializes with PID. So these are the only attributes. Then it does this one. Yeah, I think player should be fine for now. Then let us go to cell name. Then we should have cell, right? So again I will create a struct called cell. Similarly, any class or struct should end with colon. So every cell will have a cell ID. Then it will have a player. So if at all a cell is already filled, this player pointer would not be null. So now a cell, whenever it is initialized, it will initialize this cell ID, and then maybe there is a getter method to return cell ID. Then it can also say if it is filled already, return space p is double equal to null. So like that, if it is already filled. Maybe it can also have a getter method called get player, where it returns player, then set player, something like that. If at all p is double equal to null, we initialize pl, or then else for now return false. Here I'm using boolean to know whether the cell is already filled or not. We can also use exceptions here. So for now I'm commenting it as exceptions here, so that once the minimal project, demoable project is done, I will come back to these comments and address it. But for now, this should be enough. So here I'm using a player. So and let me group that. Then now coming to board. Board is an important model for us. So here I will put board as a class. I could have put even cell also as a class. So doesn't matter as such. But the difference is that in class by default attributes are private. In struct or by default attributes are public. That's the only difference. So if at all you feel that there are no methods as such and struct is enough, you can go ahead with struct. So for now I'm using everything as a class. All models are classes for me. So in board now, first of all, what is a board look like? So I will include cell.h, and then I will also include player.h. So a board is nothing but a matrix of cells, right? So let me create a vector of cells in the board, and then something called free column. So now in board, if at all a player has completely chosen a row, okay, if at all a complete column is already full, we cannot click on it, right? So let me show you. So if at all, so I cannot click on it, right? Column is already full. So what I'm keeping is in bold, I'm keeping something called free column, which will be useful for me to show it to the user and take input appropriate columns. So they show every board will have number of rows and columns. Then these are some of the private attributes. Now during the initialization of board, I will fill the cell vector. So these many rows are there. These many columns are there. So now temp dot push underscore back of new space of lid plus plus, then push underscore back of temp. So this is how I am filling the cell, and I will also fill the free column. Initially all the columns will be free. So something like I, right? So now at every column there is something called the row which is free, right? So first in the first column, the first row is free. Now what if I, instead of choosing free column, column wise free rows, free row, something like this. What if I choose for every column I keep a ID of the free row. This way, what I can do is that I can use it to know which columns are already full, and also I can also know which cell to fill whenever the user has chosen that particular cell, right? So this is a vector with a size column, and each index tells at that particular column which row is free. So for these many columns, the particular r minus 1, this is the row that is free. Okay, then this is the basic way of how a board is filled. Now a board should also be able to give me a vector of free column, right? So vector of get column by 0, something like that. So this can be useful for us. Maybe in the service or a game layer, we will use this one to know whether a player can choose particular column or not. Okay, so in a particular board, we should also be able to set a particular player, a particular column index. So if this means that this particular player has chosen this particular column. So first of all, a case condition. So basically, if the column is now out of the bounds, we should install. Then for that particular column, what is the free row? Now, if this row ID is less than 0, then it means that that column is not free. Column is already full. So now if I reach this one, it means particular row and then column index can be filled, and this particular cell we need to fill player, and then we should also move it because this particular cell is already filled. Now return true. This is how we are setting. Then we should also have a getter for cell. Maybe the game can try to get the cells and do something with it. So this is a getter method. Now this is how a board should be able to, board should have these capabilities, right? This is something with model. Now let us see the game, like what is the actual service. So we should also have a new group called game, and in this game what should be the capabilities of this game? So first of all, maybe I will name it service. Name this service. So what should what all are needed for a game? So first of all, a game needs a board, it needs a player, we should also have a turn to know which player is currently playing. So in this way, in the game initialization, we do initialize the board, and then let us say we, for now we will hard code the number of players to 2, and then we will also say first player is the one who gets started with, and there should also be a play game where we take a while of 1, we get free columns from first, where was it? So we get this one, column by free rows from board, and then we create something called free column. So in that particular column, if there is a free row, then go back. This is how I am creating a set of free columns. If at all free column dot size is double equal to 0, then game is a draw. Means no player can proceed to break from the while loop. Or else get a players of turn, right? Let's say from this particular player get column with one of the free rows. So in player we should also have a capability called integer space get column that we can choose from a set of free columns. For now, what we can do is return space be something like so for now a player chooses a free column randomly and then returns it. Now in the game we got a column from the particular player, then we go to board set player with this particular column and with this particular player, and then board should also have a print functionality so that it's easy for us to know what's happening. So board I'll add something like if cells of ij is fill is double equal to false, maybe we can print something like underscore and then out cells of player get player get id. Finally so if the player is not filled, I'm printing underscore, or else if the player is filled I will print the player id. Now after a particular will give a break, line break. So this is how I am using a print. So once a player has set, I can do a print. Now we need to do turn plus plus and then turn percentage equal to yeah. So high level wise we have the algorithm, but there are missing pieces like when a player is has chosen a particular cell, we need to stop the game if it is a winning step, right? So how do you choose the winning strategy? So something like whether the game is done, or let us say if you want to configure it as three rows, three columns, or only rows, only columns, only diagonals, or something. That's the responsibility of a strategy. That's why I created a strategy component, right? So what strategy component does is, so winning strategy or winning criteria. Maybe criteria is a better word, but for now going with strategy. So in this one, strategy is an interface. Winning strategy is an interface. Then what should be the capabilities of the strategy? So it should be able to decide whether it is a winning step, right? So if at all that is a winning step, we need to do some. We need to stop the game. So now I will have a default winning strategy where we win if there are 4 rows, 4 columns of the particular 4 rows, 4 columns, and 4 diagonals of a particular player. So this default winning strategy, what it does is it inherits from winning strategy, and then it implements this is winning step, right? So here, in order to know what's happening with the particular board, we need to send the board as well, right? So what this winning strategy takes as input is a board pointer. A board pointer. Now, whenever someone calls his winning step, we should be able to go through all the rows, go through all the columns, and then see the consecutive four rows, and the player is there, then it's a winning step. Now, can we do better? When will a player win? Only if he has played a particular cell, right? So, only when there is an update, a player can win. So, what if board gives me something like last modified cell? So, what if my board gives me last modified cell and then strategy uses it to calculate whether the player has won or not? This is how we are splitting the responsibilities. Like board is only knowing the board specific responsibilities. Strategy uses the features of a board to know what's happening, right? So we can have so last modified by default as initial -1. So here last modified row equal to row ID, column equal to column index. Then you just need to return the last modified row and then last modified column. Now what you can do is you have got in winning step what you can do is cell equal to in this B cell, something like that. If modified cell of integer space row, so if at all modified cell in the modified cell, it's a vector where first element is the row and second element is the column. If at all it is -1, it means the game is not even started. Definitely I need to return false. Now I need to get all the cells of the board. Now I got the last modified cell. I need to get all the cells of the board. Then I need to get number of rows and then number of columns. So now I have the step, I have the step. I need to check column wise, row wise and diagonal wise. So let me check column wise first if the player has succeeded. So player ID is player will succeed only if there are 4 consecutive cells with the same player ID. So initially it would be like this. Now because I am checking the modify column wise, I will store row here and then for all the columns in that row, if it is filled, the player ID is so if at all player ID is double equal to -1 or player ID is not equal to PID, then it means either it is the first player or player has changed. So count equal to 1 and then player ID equal to PID. Else, if it is the same player, then you just need to do count plus plus. Now after all this, if count is double equal to 4, then return true. Because we have four consecutive players for that consecutive cell for the player. So this was for column wise. Let us copy paste for row wise. Check row wise where count is there, and then now I will store the column here, and then instead of ij it will become ji everywhere. So here also it is like this, and then same thing. Now check diagonal wise. Now it's time to check diagonal wise where what I will do is I will go to the diagonal starting point first and then I will move from there. While of x is greater than or equal to 0 and y is less than 0 and y is greater than or equal to 0, while of I am inside the board, do x minus and y minus minus. Once I am outside, do x plus y plus plus to know that I am at the starting point of a diagonal. So I am checking diagonal 1. So similarly, I will do the same thing. Count equal to 0 is so while I'm inside the board, what I will do is I will go ahead and then x comma y. Same thing for check diagonal 2. check for diagonal 2, where this time I need to move in a different direction, x plus plus y minus minus. Here I will do x minus minus and then y plus plus, and then count equal to 0. All of these are same. Just that here I need to do x minus minus y plus plus. If I have reached till here, then it means the weight is not pending step. So this is the default winning strategy. So I have model, I have strategy. I'll take input now. So for now, because of the time constraint, I will just remove input component and take input from console. I will tell in the uh, review time that I can actually take the input and make it as interface so that it can be used for taking input from console or network as well. So if you see, board is there, right? Inside board, we are already setting player and also using in-memory board already. So there is no need of repository in this case. Then exception. For now, we need to have a minimum demoable project. So I'll leave the exceptions for now. And yeah, I think let me try to service save game.h. I'll include that, and then so let me open the game on the right side. But it's easy for me to understand what's happening. So game star g equal to new space game of 5,6 maybe, or 6,6. Here I will say, here on the right side, here I will say Zioka play game. Then here we have input. So in the game I need board and player. So I definitely need board, player, then cell. Then I don't want to repeat the name models again and again. So I use models. Then capital P here, no named vector. Okay, vector. Then std. Then strategy, I guess, or set player. Okay, board does not have set player. It means let me go to board, set player. Then board has no issue. So after printing, we should also do something like strategy is needed, right? So inside game, we also need a strategy. So strategy in strategy. So let me also do strategy using namespace strategy. Then while initializing the game, I'll also get a winning strategy as input and I'll store it. Then once the player has made a move, what I will do is in that winning strategy is if it is winning step, see out, see out player 1. So then break it. So this is one of the winning line. So it says unknown name strategy because it's winning strategy. Then here see out it says what is there? No member named get ID. Okay, in player don't we have a get ID? Because okay, player ID. Then there is a colon. Then we need to include a vector. Then what else? So there are 9 errors still. Then use of undeclared identifier 3 columns. Okay. So it is column wise 3 rows. Then no viable constructor because I need to have a strategy. Default winning strategy, and I set winning strategy to no member named get lost modified cell in winning strategy. Okay, so board, let me open board here. On the board, I already said lost modified cell. It should be lost. What else are the errors here? So it says no matching constructor for safe winning strategy. Okay, so first we need to give a board. So this case is it's because in the default winning strategy it takes a board as input, right? So game actually creates the board. So before this, what I need to do is I need to create a board and then give it to both of them. That's a better approach. So this way I give a board here and then I give a board here inside game. Now I go to game and then I go to a board. Then still there are issues. So to its private base, okay, there is a public base there, strategy to its private base constructor. Okay, so winning strategy has a private base constructor. Okay, to its private base constructor of winning strategy. So it's a pure virtual function. So that is not be a thing. So public. Okay, so I forgot whenever you create inherit, make sure you do it public so that all public methods of winning strategy would become public, or else by default would become private. Right now there was a public constructor, it became a private because I did not keep a public. That was the reason. Now all the errors have gone. So here it says the game is a draw. Okay, it says game is a draw for now. So there are obviously bugs in our code. So so definitely there are some issues. So what I will do is I'll create a breakpoint so that I know how to debug. So free columns. First of all, there are all the columns are free for now, and then I get a column from this guy one, and then I say I got a P, so I do the set layer, then whenever I'm printing, there are the 6 rows. So inside cells, let me print out. So there was first column, right? So let me print the first column to be precise. So okay, even in the first column, I need to either print this guy, cell ID is 7, player is set. Player is set here. Okay, no, player is not set, it is a null, I guess. Okay, cell ID, okay, P is equal to null. Okay, player initially is set to null. So let me print out this guy. What I okay, it's not. So here P is there, right? Okay, player ID is 8. Okay, player ID is 8. So there is some issue. Player ID I'm getting, return player ID, get free column is also there. Let me go to right from the beginning. Let me debug. So free columns is there, column is there. Now first of all, player. What is the player ID of each player? Player ID is 1, 2, that is fine. Now I'll go inside set player. So row ID is 5, column ID is 1. So fifth row first column is set. So fifth row first column. Okay, I think it is like this. First row is guy and then fifth column. Cell ID is player is not set. Okay, maybe it is set at the sky. Okay, this is also not set. So definitely there is some issue. Okay, whenever a cell is created, you should make it null. Maybe this was the reason for by default it should be null, or else it will be a random dangling pointer. Now in get ID, exe bad access. Okay, so okay, if at all is filled, so if is filled is equal to false. First of all, let me see is filled. If it is filled, not equal to null here. Got it. So now yeah, we saw how to debug the problem as well. Now you can see that players are playing, and this is a particular Connect4 board, and finally player 2 won. So let me run it again. Oh, you can see that there is no true randomization here because I did not keep a seed. Maybe I should feed it properly, and then it would be actual randomization. Now I'm feeding that rand function. Okay, now player one won. Player one won, but with different configurations if you guys see. So maybe I'll put it this way. Player one won with this configuration 221 212. Player one won with this configuration 221 212. So definitely the code is working. We have a demoable project now, and we have also made good use of different design patterns and interfaces. And interfaces are only depending on other interfaces, which is better. Now we can make changes accordingly now, right? So we saw that whenever we get time after demoable project, we can add exceptions and make it thread safe. So if you see here, where are we changing some variable and not taking lock, right? So in game, you are relying on set player, and in winning step you are just reading. So definitely set player is doing some modifications here. This is where we are actually modifying something. So in set player, we need to take a lock. So this is the way we are unique underscore lock of the text is a lock. So this is taking a unique lock. Whenever we return from this function, this L will be unlocked as part of the destructor of lock. We will unlock the regex. So this way we have also made it thread safe. All the other functions here are read only. Only this function is writing, so I took a lock here. We have made it thread safe. We can make some exceptions. We can create some exceptions here if we have time. Something like let's create some default exceptions. So let us say we have a base exception, and it should have for now only message now in the error code. Then where can we have an exception? Uh, where can we have an exception? Maybe in a code. Do we have an exception like what all column is outside or column is inside? But column is outside is not possible because player is actually choosing within the column. But you can say, yeah, I think invalid step. Maybe we can create a exception called invalid step exception. Right. So here so this invalid step exception, whenever it is getting initialized, it will take a message. It will store it in a private variable. Then this message. Now in code, whenever you are doing return fault, here you can actually do an exception throw, and the caller can actually catch the exception and handle it. But in this particular game, I don't see the need for exception. So for now, I'm removing that. Can actually do all this, but for now, I feel the project is in pretty good shape for a demo. And if you see, the project only has header file, right? Uh, so in general, because of the time constraint, I have implemented everything in header file, but actually we can create a implementation and header file separately. For example, let us do it quickly. So in game.cpp, you can include game, and then let me open game.h here, and then there's only one function anyway, so I will implement the game here. Play game here. Okay. So here is so where are the is open. Let's see out. Okay. Yeah, very successful. So I created a implementation file for game.h. Game.h only has the function declaration. All the implementation can go to game.cpp, right? Similarly, for default winning strategy as well, header file need not have all the implementation. You can actually move it to its cpp file. I will let me try it. Let me quickly do it. Then strategy colon. Okay. So where what is the issue? Okay, so still unknown type code. Okay, so did we do something here? Okay, no. So I need to include board. Board. So I'm not doing anything else. I'm just splitting the implementation and the header file separate. I did for game. I did for default strategy. I can also do it for model. Let me see for model. Player seems to be fine. Short, even cell seems to be fine for me. Only thing is board. Board actually seems pretty big, so I can create a implementation file for it. So let me create a split where I am keeping implementation on the right side, left side I'll keep header file. Then I do all the implementation on, so I move to the right side. Then here as well I will say these functions will be implemented. Then on the right side this model, then code colon. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the way I created three components and different interfaces and implementation for Connect4 game. One last time, let me run it, and yeah, so it's working perfectly fine, guys. You can actually like demo it to the interviewer. He would be focusing on how we are winning, how we are choosing a particular step. The particular step is chosen randomly, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you.